I would like to thank the President of the United States, Joseph Biden, for convening and for inviting me to participate in the second Summit for Democracy. I welcome the fact that this event seeks to strengthen democratic systems in the world, confront all types of authoritarianism, fight corruption, promote and protect human rights, and, with this, demonstrate that democracies are effective in improving the lives of our citizens and better address the most serious problems facing our societies. This Summit for Democracy is taking place in a particular circumstance for Peru. My country has recently experienced a serious political and social crisis which tested the strength and foundations of democracy and the rule of law. On December 7, 2022, former President Pedro Castillo carried out a coup d'etat by unconstitutionally dissolving Congress, ordering the intervention of the judiciary, the public ministry, the Constitutional Tribunal, and the National Board of Justice, in addition to ordering the arrest of the Attorney General. I assumed the presidency of the Republic within the framework of a constitutional succession and in compliance with the responsibility to my country. During these 3 months of government, I have worked to strengthen the institutional framework and attend the needs and demands of all my compatriots within our democratic framework. I am convinced that reaching a consensus is a key element of democracy. That is why my government has engaged in a broad process of dialogue to get my country out of this difficult phase. This process involves various political actors, social organizations, and productive sectors, and requires going beyond mere ideological and political differences. For Peru and for this president, the promotion of human rights and their protection is another of the fundamental pillars for strengthening governability and the democratic system. My government respects and will continue to respect Peru's human rights international commitments, including the right to legitimate and peaceful protest, always differentiating it from acts of violence against the democratic order and the rule of law. Ladies and gentlemen, heads of state and government, today democracy must produce concrete results for our citizens. It must guarantee free and transparent elections, respect freedom of the press and expression, and plurality. But at the same time, it must guarantee in developing countries such as Peru quality healthcare and education, drinking water, highways, bridges, rural roads, security, even more so after the terrible consequences of the pandemic and the environmental calamities of which no country is foreign to. For this reason, my government has launched an ambitious economic reactivation plan with social and productive investments that go directly to household economies and public works in all regions of the country. This plan is called Compunche Peru, which is a local term that means strength, courage, energy, drive, because that is how we Peruvians are, a brave and resilient people, an enterprising people who have suffered great crises and enormous challenges, but have always managed to overcome adversity and flourish. One of those great scourges that has hit my country and especially the most vulnerable sectors is corruption and, along with it, impunity, which have been an important source of destabilization of democratic institutions and the rule of law, in addition to the disappointment and frustration of our citizens. We are carrying out a frontal fight against corruption and impunity to eradicate them from the structure of the state and society. Those ominous practices have cost our country of billions of dollars and of its aspirations. We are aware that only through solid regulations will it be possible to effectively combat corruption. With this purpose in mind, we have been strengthening the national integrity and anti-corruption policy, as well as the national policy against money laundering and terrorist financing. Ladies and gentlemen, heads of state and government, currently democracy faces many challenges in our countries. From authoritarian movements that seek to besiege democratic institutional processes and the exercise of legitimately constituted authority, widening the levels of poverty and inequality, problems that have been historically relegated and which deserve an effective response and solution. Today, I can say that Peruvians are convinced that only in democracy will we build justice and development for our peoples. My country has had a hard time recovering its democratic institutions. It is our duty to defend and strengthen them, promoting dialogue, guaranteeing respect for human rights and better living conditions for everyone. Therefore, Peru fully endorses the initiative to create an international coalition to defend and strengthen democracy. Because only in this way can we build fairer, more equitable, more developed, and more democratic societies. Thank you.